Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many different twists and turns, as well as surprises in this film by director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of people are really looking forward to is, of course, exactly how the character of Luke Skywalker will be utilized by, of course, J.J., and exactly how he's going to use the character in the form of a Force ghost and or in the form of flashback sequences in this film. Now, what's really great about Luke is that we do know that Mark Hamill got to actually have the chance to improvise and come up with his own dialogue for this movie in certain scenes, so some of the actual scenes that we will see in this film are actually going to consist of dialogue that Mark Hamill himself created for the character of Luke Skywalker. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for this film. Now, specifically, it's described that one of the actual concept art descriptions goes over a description of both Rey and Luke Skywalker sitting in front of each other, where a large Jedi structure is seen in the background. It's described to be a moment in which Luke's Force ghost is teaching Rey a lesson or two about the ways of the Force and the Jedi. The next describes Luke revealing to Rey that he has felt a certain dark power rising slowly for decades, and that now it seems to be at its peak. Luke is said to describe to Rey that the power he feels is very familiar, as if he was close to this power before in his life, however can't sense exactly who it is. It's said to be a moment in which Luke tells Rey that though there was balance for decades until his nephew Ben, at the same time for years, Luke always felt a dark side power growing from afar, slowly building and progressing to something dangerous, and that now Luke is worried that Rey also admits that she and Kylo have felt the same exact power too. It's also described that during Luke's time on Ahch-To, before he closed himself off from the Force, is when Luke began to get worried of this power and even felt its presence on the island when he traveled down to the Mirror Cave in, of course, the Cave of Ahch-To. So, I want to go over a couple of parts about this and as to why it really seems like that this is all building towards the character of Emperor Palpatine. Now, in case you guys did not know, there is going to be an element of Palpatine and his connection to the Dark Acolyte in Episode 9 in some way, shape, or form. So that's one angle to Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker that I think is really going to be a very big surprise and something completely unexpected for, of course, the majority of Star Wars fans. Now, looking at everything else, involving Episode 9, what's really intriguing about Luke here is that, yes, there was balance for decades until Ben Solo turned to the dark side of the Force. However, Luke describes to Rey, apparently, that at some point in time, well after the events of Return of the Jedi, a certain dark power was actually felt by Luke and was growing slowly and progressively into something very dangerous. And he even felt this during his time on the world of Ahch-To, and especially during his time inside of the Mirror Cave on Ahch-To. So, like I say, guys, the fact that Luke says that this, power is familiar, yet as if it's a power that he was very close to before, this could indicate that it was either Palpatine or it was either a different villain that we are currently unaware of, since there are 1,000 or more missions that Luke and R2-D2 went on around the entire galaxy. In case you guys did not know, this is canon, that there are at least thousands of missions within R2-D2's memory that actually involve the character of Luke Skywalker going on missions with him. And that, my friends, I gotta say, is a great way in order to really deliver, a television series, based on, of course, the Star Wars universe. I mean, this is perfect. So the other piece that I do want to go over is, of course, the one involving, Rey admitting to Luke that she felt the power too, as well as Kylo Ren. And this causes, Luke Skywalker to tell Rey about during his time on Ahch-To, he even still felt the presence of the dark side of this dark power that was growing before he cut himself off from the Force. So, the thing here is this. We do know that J.J. Abrams is trying his ways of really kind of just connecting this movie to The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens to the point where we are going to view those two movies in a completely different way than we ever expected before. And I think that's one angle to the Star Wars franchise, especially within Episode 9, that is going to be very unexpected and very impressive by J.J., is that he's really going to recraft, basically, the entire sequel trilogy and how we look at The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi by, of course, these different conversations between these two characters and other characters out there alike. So, Luke Skywalker, a very important character within, of course, not just the sequels, but also the original trilogy and everything that comes between there that will be explained in future books, novels, and a potential TV series. You know, there's a lot to tell that Luke Skywalker went through a lot of, you know, these different missions and ran into quite a number of villains. And I think that, you know, this new dark power that is rising, it's very likely that it has all to do with the character of Emperor Palpatine, since Luke does indeed mention that it's a power that is very familiar to him, and yet at the same exact time, we have the laughter of Palpatine in the official trailer, so I don't think it's a coincidence. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding. From night to moon, we hear their moans again.